Pretty cool.
Now, what is your biggest Achilles heel that you feel like you have to work on going into next year?
So you asked like what I feel like I can work on for next year?
Yeah, what do you think your biggest Achilles heel you have to work on for next year is?
Well, I think I still have a good bit of learning to do on the mile and a half sort of stuff in ARCA. Just, I'd like to get a little bit more comfortable in the dirty air and that sort of thing. Maybe a little more aggressive on side drafting, that sort of thing. As far as like the road course stuff goes, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty ready to compete with those guys. Obviously, there's you learn something every time you get in the car, but just general racecraft just always gets a little bit better. I think our cars and me need a little bit more speed to be able to keep up with Rafa. He's kind of been the main competition, I think, for us this year, so I think we'll have something for him next year.
That's good to hear. That was a really big weekend, Nashville, with all that was attending. From what I read, that was a weekend that was like 10 years in the making.
Yeah, it was a lot of hype around it, and the crowd definitely showed out. It was pretty cool, even for our race on Saturday. There was definitely way more people for that race than we've ever had for a Trans Am race.
Yeah, and I was glad to be one of them. And as you can see, I got to interact with Scott Burchetta out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. He's a man. He's done a lot for the series, and he's the reason we went there, and we're going back next year. So he's a good guy to know.
Yeah. So what was your reaction when you learned that the Nashville weekend had come to fruition?
I was really excited. Nashville is a town I love to visit, and a street race has always been something I've wanted to do. And Detroit had been on the schedule before, and then I knew that wasn't going to be there, so I was excited that I got to do a street race. I was going to, and Nashville was a little bit better than Detroit, in my opinion. So I was glad we got to go there, and especially we were fast and put on a good show.
That's really interesting. When you're behind the wheel of a car, even in Trans Am, when you get bumped by someone, do you have that moment at first of thinking, oh, I gotta take that guy out, but restrain yourself? Has that happened to you before?
Sometimes. It depends on if you feel like it was intentional or not, or if you deserved it or not. I had an incident at VIR, getting by Skeen, actually. Passed him on a restart. I used him up a little bit, but nothing he hadn't done to me, that sort of thing. But I guess he was pretty unhappy, and he ended up jacking me up pretty good a couple corners later, and caused us to have a right rear tire go down. So I wasn't too happy about that, but unfortunately never got to be able to race him again at COTA this last race. He ended up not running till the last day and starting in the back, so never saw him. But there's definitely the times like that definitely make you mad. Other times it's just racing, and you kind of learn to live with it.
Yeah. So what are your hopes for next year for the Trans Am series, if you have any?
I really think I'd like to win 3 or 4 races and then go for the championship. I think we'll have the speed to do that, and that's going to be our goal.
That's pretty cool.
I have to ask, are you talking to any NASCAR truck teams down the road, or what's your plans besides ARCA and the road course stuff? Any conversations happen?
We've talked to some teams at least about trucks, or maybe Xfinity the following year. That would kind of be just depending on how next year goes. We talked about maybe doing a truck race or 2 on the road courses, or maybe even an oval in the fall. But I think, if next year's successful, both in the ARCA stuff or the Trans Am, I would like to go full time in something in 2023, either probably trucks or Xfinity.
Nice.
We wish you luck in that. And what's your favorite track you've ever raced on?
Oh, that's a tough question. I might have to go with Watkins Glen. That was probably one of my favorites this year. Really, a lot of the road courses we go to in Trans Am were a lot of fun. Laguna Seca is actually probably my favorite. So I'd say Laguna and Watkins Glen would be my two favorites.
Okay, put you on the spot there. Take us on a lap around Laguna Seca, your favorite track. So,
yeah, it's got a lot of elevation change. I mean, there's several tracks that do, but it's there's no real long straightaways there. You have the main straightaway, but even it's got a pretty major turn at the end of it. But it's just a lot of corners you're hustling through. Turn 6 is probably one of my favorite corners of any track we go to. It just, the car loads a lot, and it's a really high risk, high reward corner. And then of course you have the corkscrew there where you drop, I think it's like 2 or 3 stories, and like 10 feet or something. So those are probably my 2 favorite corners of any track we go to, which is probably a big reason why I like the track so much. And not to mention the area, Monterey, California is a really cool spot. So kind of all those things together.
Have you ever seen the video footage of that pass by Alex Zanardi on Bryant Herta at that track?
I have, yeah, the IndyCar pass.
What's that area of the track like at Laguna Seca when you drive through it?
It's a tough section to get right. I actually was made a mistake there passing a guy, and I tried to get a little too deep. It's really blind corner when you're going into it, so it's hard to tell where your brake zone is, and then it flattens out, so it's really easy to lock a tire and miss the entry, which is what I did. And then, even if you get inside somebody, it's just a hairy place to pass, but you definitely need to be able to pass there. But once you kind of get to the entry, then it's pretty straightforward from there. You can get the throttle down pretty hard with that hill. The momentum will allow you to. So it's really, for me, the hardest part there is just setting up the brake zone and making sure you hit that right.
Yeah. Have you ever driven at Motorsport at all?
I have not. We were supposed to go there. By Motorsport, you mean like the Canadian track?
Yeah, Canadian Tire Motorsport.
Yeah. No, yeah, we were supposed to go there this year. It was on our schedule, but unfortunately with COVID, we couldn't go to Canada to race. So it won't be on the schedule again next year, but maybe one day I'd like to go there for sure. It looks like a cool place.
Yeah.
So who would you consider your biggest role model in racing? Like, who do you look up to from any series?
That's a good question. I mean, Tony Stewart was always kind of my favorite guy growing up. Just his style and the fact that he could race anything, was successful in dirt, on IndyCar and NASCAR. It takes a really talented driver to be able to be fast in all of these types of cars, kind of like Kyle Larson today. So that's it. Him and Larson are probably my 2 guys right now.
That's really cool. Who do you think has a strong chance of winning the Trans Am Championship next year, or the Cup Championship if you had to pick?
But for Trans Am, there's some good guys. I think I really feel like, based on how this year went, it'll probably be down to me and Rafa again next year. Skeen will always, of course, be there as well. So I think probably the 3 of us will have a year-long battle, hopefully. And then as far as Cup goes, it's Hendrick and Gibbs are so strong, it's kind of hard to count out any of those guys. Of course, I think Larson will probably be back in the Final 4. And then, it depends on, if Harvick and Stewart Haas, they can get their stuff right next year, he'll, of course, be in contention. So I think you could really look at any of those guys from Gibbs or Hendrick to be there.
Definitely. So that's all we have for now, but it was very great to chat with you about your Trans Am career.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me on. I enjoy it.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, anytime. Let me know.
Yeah, do you have any side businesses that you have that we can promote?
Well, I just my sponsors, Nick Taylor Custom Fit Underwear. I'll just set you guys up. It's good stuff.
All right, the link, everybody, is right here.
Yeah, right here. So,
Yeah. So we thank you, Connor, for coming on the show, and we'll definitely bring you back on in the future, probably next year sometime, hopefully, if you're having the race wins or the championship.
Yeah, that sounds great.
yeah.
All
good
right.
to meet
You
Connor.
want to conclude, Justin?
Yep. So this has been Stories from Motorsports. Hit a like, subscribe if you're new, and we will see you next time on Stories from Motorsports.